What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Dream Agent Academy. So, in today's video, I would like to talk about something very important that I notice every time I speak to an agent and I ask them, "What kind of digital footprint do you have?" Most answers they go something like this: "Well, I try to put some piece of content that inspires my audience or inspires my recruit, so that I can stay up to date with them and be connected with them." Well, when you think about it, this is not typically the exact way of putting content and speaking to people. And today video, I would like to highlight the three things that you need to be doing on a daily basis so that you can create real momentum, because momentum doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen out of nowhere, nothing. It happens because you engineered it and that you thought about it and you put effort into it. Okay, so the first thing that we want to make sure that we are doing is understanding what are these three things first. The first thing is creating content, and creating content in any industry you happen to be needs to happen very strategically. Now, it's becoming now very sophisticated, and people are using AI and I don't know what, and everything is becoming so much hype. And I don't think this is the right approach. I think the best way of approaching content is basically by speaking about what you've been doing on a day-to-day basis. For example, if you had a conversation with the prospects and you've been able successful to close them and help them achieve their goals to cover themselves and their families, then you want to speak about that. If you spoke to somebody who gave you a hard time, who was not decided, who represent the exact typical nightmare customer that you don't want to deal with, then you can speak about that. If you went for an outdoor experience with your family or friends, you can speak about that. Basically, content needs to speak and tell people what you've been doing and who you are. Now, of course, there is some nuances in terms of platform. If it's Facebook, it's it's easy to do that. If it's LinkedIn, then you want to make sure that your content is more a little bit more polished. But the idea in general is the behind putting content is to create bonds with our audience so that we can become familiar with them, and also to be able to add value to their lives. That's what content is all about. Now, there are more sophisticated ways about putting content out there, like formula called the RVR formula, which is results, value, lifestyle. You can use that. There are many things that you can use. However, the most simplistic way is by speaking about your day-to-day life in general, like those shows that we see by with what's her name, Kardashian. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is making offers. Making offers, it's basically we summarize making offers into the three C's, which is content, conversations, and calls. So content, we put a piece of content, we drives those people who engage on that content, we engage with them, and we continue the conversation and explore for the pain. If there is people who are frustrated, and we know when a frustrated customer, we know when there is a frustrated customer, they automatically start talking about their frustrations, and they start talking to you without even asking them. Those people, we should be able to turn them into move them into sales calls, then we can close them. And this is basically the path. It's very simple. Not, I'm not saying that you can't reach out to other people and that haven't engaged with your content yet, or that just they accept your friend requests or anything like that. But in general, this is the framework. This is the most optimized framework you can use. And the third is running campaigns. And running campaigns is at the heart of everything we do inside as marketers. And the unfortunately, when Facebook came out, they changed really the concept of what's running campaigns, because everything becomes about putting paid ads and generating leads and closing. That's one way of doing paid doing or running campaigns. Running campaigns is more about orchestrating noise and moving that noise towards attention and then closing. That's what's all about. uh, Being able to run campaigns is orchestrating noise. Now, before I speak about the alternative to what Facebook has been doing in terms of uh, defining running campaigns, I would like to highlight the major ways of generating leads, and there are only six. The first one is word of mouth, and everybody we know that word of mouth is the oldest trick in the book, and everybody is using it. The second thing is cold outreach, and cold outreach, it doesn't need to be necessarily just cold phone. It can be a phone call, it can be on Messenger, it can be on email. It doesn't matter what kind of tool are you using. The most important is that you are using it, and you are using it efficiently, because there's ways of doing it. The third way of doing it is by referrals, and basically referrals is you tell somebody who happen to be in an adjacent industry that if you, for example, if you bring me a lead and I can close them, then you get a commission based on that referrals. And that's what a referrals is. Generally, most agents use it without giving any commission, and that's okay. People, friends and family, they don't care. But in general, this is the definition out there is this is his definition. Finally, the paid ads. Paid ads is the new ways of it happened because of internet. But before internet, we used to go and we used to take time out of our day and make sure that people know us. We go to coffees, we go to parties, we go to stores, we start giving people our business cards, we start talking to people on the street. Try to make ourselves known as much as possible so that we create the right environment for us to grow and to get the word of mouth uh, out there. However, campaigning online is exactly the same way. We start once we choose our audience, our dream avatar, then we make sure that we are building an audience out of that dream avatar so that we increase the probability of getting our message heard and acted on. And then once we do that, then we start showing up on a daily basis, putting content, engaging with people, speaking to people, inviting people to sales calls, making offers, uh, you name it, doing a lot of things. All these things helps us create momentum and makes impact. Okay, so this is basically the organic approach, and I like to define organic by being it's like that vegetation grows in the wild. It doesn't need medicine or any steroids or anything like that. It grows on its own in the wild, and it just because it's that environment, and that's exactly what we want to be replicating. We want to create an environment for our vegetation, for ourselves to grow and prosper inside an environment where people start coming see us. And this is works because it proved to work. And I personally was very successful selling because I was able to make a name for myself and create momentum. And eventually, people start to come to me once I put a flag on my territory and said, "Hey, this is what I do. This is how I help. If you need help, come over." And this is the exact approach that we want to be taking if we want to be growing organically and we want to be generating leads organically. Now, before I let you go, most people what they do is they go and they invest on paid ads, and they use money out of pockets. That's not the right way of doing it, because you are hurting yourself in the process and you hurt in your pocket. You want to make sure that you are building foundation for your organic presence in your market and start getting sales. And once you start making sales, you take that money, and in order to go 10 times faster or 100 times faster, then you use paid ads to grow faster. That's the way of doing it. We don't do it by just try to uh, take money that we don't have, invested in paid ads. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't, because the foundation, the footprint, digital footprint is not even there to help us creates that momentum, and at the end of the day we waste everything. Okay, so you guys, if you have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the below in the comments. I'll be more than happy to cover them. If you haven't joined the LinkedIn group, please make sure to join it. I'll leave the link in the comment. Have a great day and talk soon.